Lady with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And I have a friend in studio. He was born on Halloween. He loves all things Halloween. So I thought if I were to give a preview of Halloween Horror Nights, there's no one better to do it with than the Nick Pagliochini. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, except for if you're one of the Momigos and you're joining us on YouTube, you will see I am sporting an eye patch today. And as Mo and I were talking about, arg, it's my KF situation where I have a corneal scratch. So it's just pretty much there to protect it. But, you know, it gives me my villain side, kind of, which works well for this part. But Halloween Horror Nights, which is coming up and starts on the 4th of September, is already on sale at Universal Studios Hollywood. And we have 8 mazes this year, along with the Terror Tram. 7 of the 8 mazes have been announced. And it's very interesting to me because they're really leaning into IP or intellectual property, which is something that is not new, but it's, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed because they always do an exceptional job with it. John Murdy, who leads the creative team over at Universal. But, I always love their brand new, unique ones that they have. In fact, they've got one that I'll talk about real quick. But of all the IPs that are coming, Five Nights at Freddy's will be there. I have no idea because I do not follow WWE, but they have the horrors of the Wyatt 6 as opposed to SIX, which I guess is originally it's 6.
SICKS.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Also, you've got the Terrifier. So if you know the Terrifier movies, and Jason Universe is going to encompass all the different embodiments of Jason Voorhees from the franchise there. And then you've got Fallout. So if you're familiar with Fallout on Amazon Prime, right? Is that?
Yes, it's Prime.
Prime, yeah.
Yep.
So that will be represented there. Now, the one that I'm looking forward to the most is going to be Monstros 3, the 3rd iteration of Ghost of Latin America. And we've had them the last 2 years, and it's been incredible. So much fun. And if you've not been to Halloween Horror Nights, it, along with Not Scary Farm and even Halloween Time over at Disneyland, they are these really special, unique times that you don't want to miss. Now, another thing that is going to be coming is Scarecrow with music by Slash. So specifically that Slash. Okay. The thing that I like about this too is that actual maze is going to be a part of Horror Unleashed in Las Vegas. And that actually, I'm trying to work on getting up there. The 14th of August is when this brand new year-round event over at Area 15, so on the west side of the 15, if you're familiar with Las Vegas, Scarecrow is going to be one of the permanent install locations for a year-round haunt event that you'll be able to check out there. So there's a lot going on. They haven't announced what the theme is for the Terror Tram, but that's a lot of fun. Usually what happens if you've ever been in Universal Studios, you are locked into the vehicle. At Halloween Horror Nights, a different story. You get out of the vehicle and you become a part of the movie.
I'm sure they've changed it. I'm just concerned, and that's different from afraid.
Because
I just don't want a mother father touching me.
Which is fine. So that's a great point. Specifically, you cannot touch them and they cannot touch you, and they will come incredibly close. And having been a monster before myself, I used to work with
Someone's
Shipwrecked.
Someone's going to catch an elbow.
No, you're right. I got clotheslined.
Yeah.
And the worst part was they ran at me. So it was a planned thing.
Yeah.
So as a monster, that was Shipwrecked or Dark Harbor at that point at the Queen Mary, I got clotheslined and I was out cold. And I literally did nothing. I just happened to be, the victim of that situation. So, but yeah, I say Halloween Horror Nights is fantastic. Not Scary Farm over in Buena Park is amazing. Halloween Horror Nights is open select nights beginning the 4th of September. I will be there on opening night. And then that runs until the 2nd of November because they do lean into Dia de Muertos. Also Not Scary Farm, the 18th of September is when they start through the 1st of November. And Halloween Time at the Disneyland Resort is the 22nd of August. Through the 31st, which is interesting because I'm actually going to opening night of Oogie Boogie Bash, which is on the 17th of August. So it'll be really interesting to see. We're going to get a preview of the Halloween before it even has opened to the general public. And another thing that I want to throw in a little bit early, but Midsummer Scream is coming up the weekend of the 15th through the 17th. That's why I'm also having a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out if I'm going to be here or in Vegas, because that is the ultimate Halloween haunt and horror convention that happens at the Long Beach Convention Center. And it is well worth it, especially because I guarantee John Murdy, if they do not make an announcement on that final maze and the Terror Tram, John Murdy always wraps up the show on Sunday nights, and we'll have all the details of what's coming. It's really one of those things that you can plan ahead, because realistically, and as you have been to either Michael's or Home Goods or whatever, Summerween is definitely in effect for 2025. So there's always the joke that the day after July 4th is when Halloween season starts. And this year, they have really leaned into it.
When has it started for you historically?
Historically, for me, it's kind of a year-round thing. Obviously, as you said, my birthday is Halloween. But I do have to say, and I was talking to my husband, Brian, about it, I'm a little bit sad about it coming so early, because growing up with Halloween as your birthday, that's the ultimate. It's not like Christmas where you get, messed out of presents. It's not like Easter. Okay, you want to share that with, the rising Christ or whatever. There's so many things. But with this, I used to love Halloween, and it was literally just like 31 days of Halloween. Now it's almost 3 months or 4 months of Halloween. So I love it. Don't get me wrong. I would rather see more of it than less. But even for me, it's a little bit disappointing that we don't
take the fun out of it.
It really does, because it's the same thing. Because if you think, then Christmas already is in stores as well. If you go to Home Goods, if you go to Michael's, that's already there. Hobby Lobby is decked out. I mean, they're almost decked out year round. So it kind of depends on you. But that all being said, I kind of miss the fact that it was just 31 days. I love the idea that we're taking it a lot further, but at this point, that's kind of where we're at. So
it's later with Mo Kelly. We'll have more of what's up with Nick Pagliochini. You want to give us a quick preview what's coming up?
Going to talk about some concerts that are going on in the Southland. Also, if you are dying to see Cynthia Erivo, Elphaba from Wicked, she'll be at the Hollywood Bowl.
Is that Jesus Christ Superstar?
It is Jesus Christ Superstar. Mm-hmm. So really, really all-star cast to talk about there. A couple of concerts going on. Also, you've got the U.S. Open of Surfing in Huntington Beach. And then I've got something special coming up this weekend that I really want to encourage you to become a part of.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
What's really going on with Nick Pagliochini?
Other than the pirate situation, some of the things that are happening in the Southland, a lot of them, and just talking to you, we were just talking off air, Hollywood Bowl. If you've never been to the Hollywood Bowl, it is one of those unique venues. And I know that they have bowls or band shells around the country. And we've even got the Greek, the Ford Amphitheater. Like, we've got a lot here, but there's just something different about the Hollywood Bowl. And I've been there for a couple of, before I started doing either skipping out on Chateau Limo and going to Vegas, or joining.
My wife is still mad at you,
I know,
by the way.
Trust me. I know. And the worst part is I will never excuse myself out of that. I know that. I have to apologize profusely to La Mujer. But anyway, Hollywood Bowl, if you've not done it, it is a fantastic time, specifically because it is one of those venues where you can BYOB and BYOF, bring your own food, bring your own bevies, and sit up at the very top. And it usually is about $35, $40. So it's not, it's in the ballpark of going to the theater, going to a movie anymore. But you can actually go there and see some incredible music acts, or like this weekend, it's a very interesting retelling of Jesus Christ Superstar, the Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice musical. And it has an incredible all-star cast. So if you are a huge fan of Wicked, Cynthia Erivo, who plays Elphaba, will be Jesus. Adam Lambert, who did a stint on Broadway in Cabaret, he will be Judas Iscariot. This is my favorite of the whole group, which is very odd. Josh Gad will be playing King Herod. So Olaf from Frozen will be playing King Herod. Also, you got Philippa So, Milo Manheim, Raul Esparza, Brian Justin Crum, Tyrone Huntley, Zachary James, a huge ensemble cast. It's really, really fun. And if you've not been ever, this is a great opportunity to check that out. It's available Friday and Saturday. Also, if you are looking for, something else, they've got an entire season. You can buy it ahead of time if you so choose, but there's so much going on that you can definitely check out. And in the Southland, if you weren't already aware, last night and tonight, along with the 1st and 2nd of August, it is the Mayhem Ball from Lady Gaga, and that is at Kia Forum. Shout out to my cousin Michelle, who is there right now and sending me pictures from the event floor. But that is happening at SoFi. That is happening at the Kia Forum, and then at SoFi, happening just a couple of days later, this weekend, I should say, the 4th and the 5th. So actually next week, beginning of next week, you've got Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran, which is a Shakira's tour, will be coming through, and that's at SoFi. So I'm surprised that Gaga's not at SoFi, but then I guess maybe this kind of explains why there's a conflict there, because Gaga literally has 4 nights in town, as opposed to Shakira, who has 2. Now, granted, if we're putting the Kia Forum attendance alongside SoFi, I guess it makes sense. Give you 4 nights here and 2 nights there. That's always a thing. But yeah, it's a lot going on for Southern California. Also already underway. Well, I shouldn't say already underway. As of tomorrow, the International Surf Festival kicks off in the South Bay. So if you are in Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, Torrance, the Port of Los Angeles, Department of Beaches and Harbors, and then Los Angeles County Fire Department are all coming together along with beachsport.org. And this is not a new event, but you'll actually be able to experience world-class surfing along the California coast. And that all leads into what is going on down the way. It is going to be happening at Huntington Beach, is the U.S. Open of Surfing. And so that one is already underway. It started on the 26th and runs through the 2nd. But the thing that I like about this, if you are a huge fan of extreme sports and doing the outdoor activity, you can always check it out from just walking along the beach, walking along the Strand. There's certain portions that you can get grandstand seating and be able to enjoy it. But trust me, it's not like the amplified sound of the announcers just gets cut off at those seats. So going down to HB, not a bad thing. You can pretty much, as you come out of Sunset Beach, heading into Huntington Beach, is where you can start catching some of the event. Most of it is circled or centered right around the pier in Huntington Beach, but that's a great time. I love going, mostly because it's such an interesting time, especially being in Huntington Beach down along the water. You're able to experience and see, a whole different side of HB with all these talented athletes from around the world who are coming in for the U.S. Open of Surfing. And it's just a great time. You can also catch it on ESPN and a couple other stations. So that's definitely something worth checking out. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty quiet. Schools are actually getting ready to go back in session, which is crazy to think about. We're coming up on August and a lot of schools are going back early this year.
We were talking about that earlier in the week. Yes.
Like it's wild to me, specific to having to figure out, I couldn't imagine trying to figure out what to do with my kids, because it's like, did you already do what you wanted to do? Because they all got to be back. And it's interesting because when I was a kid growing up in the Inland Empire, we had smog days. And those were days that were about 14 days worth. We had them in the Southland, but we had them especially strong out in
Couldn't go out for recess.
Couldn't go out for recess. And there were a few days every year that we had to stay home because they couldn't do anything with us. And it was just wild. So to think that you go different places around the country, or, even if you go to like Mammoth or whatever, they have snow days. We had smog days. And so it's so interesting now, all these years later, out of the 80s through the 90s into 2000 and beyond, that, the air quality is cleaned up enough that you were able to go outside and do some unique things. But we definitely live in that area that's always referenced when it is either surfing, or you can go to the mountains, or you can go to the desert or whatever. There's always so much happening for pretty much the Southland. So it's interesting though, because this week is kind of the wrap up, I'm guessing, or getting ready to go into those summer ween experiences where you're able to really, check things out and enjoy things as you're getting closer and closer to going back to school. But the not funnier thing, but I live by an elementary school with Long Beach Unified School District, and I actually met the principal of the elementary school, who's brand new this year, and talking to her and getting all the lowdown on things being different and going back early and having different breaks throughout the year. So that seems to be either a longer holiday break for Thanksgiving or a longer holiday break around Christmas. And then usually maybe the full 2 weeks at spring break is why this is all coming about. So it's interesting to be not even through the summer. I mean, we're looking at the 29th of July, and, we're already getting ready. If you go to Target, if you go to Walmart, you're going to see all the back to school stuff. So it's kind of interesting that way, and trying to figure out with my nieces, my sister's kids down in San Clemente, they're getting ready to go back in 2 weeks, I think it is. And then in Long Beach, they're getting ready in 2 weeks for sure, or maybe 3, because I know there's a couple of in-service days coming up for the teaching staff. But anyway, it's a wild time right now in Southern California. Only because, what used to be that good solid 3 months of vacation-ish or 2 months really has dwindled. And it's really interesting because they're giving more throughout the year. But that's where we're at. So
isn't that enough?
No. I have more.
It's later with Mo Kelly, part 2 of What's Up with Nick Pagliochini. In just a moment, KFI AM 640. We're live on social media and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Nick Pagliochini. What's up with Nick is on to tell us all what he do. Nick Pagliochini. What's up with Nick is on with $3.99 for you. Nick Pagliochini. What's up with Nick is on to give us fun things to do around SoCal. What's up with Nick is on with Mo Kelly and his crew.
KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly, part 2 of What's Up with Nick Pagliochini.
I'm here.
Okay. You got to tell us what's up with you.
No. I'm going to tell you what's up with me. And I've seen so in the Momigos in the chat room. Thank you for obviously tuning in on YouTube to Mr. Mo Kelly. But to answer the question that has been posed quite a few times, the reason that I'm wearing a patch is not because I'm a huge fan of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, you
at Disneyland.
are.
I mean, I am.
Okay.
But it's specifically because I have a scratch on my cornea. So it is there just so it looks way worse under. I feel like, this is my Quasimodo moment from Hunchback of just like, or maybe more Phantom of the Opera. This is behind the map, behind the mask. So
look, I've had nothing but eye problems my whole life on a number of levels. I've had a few eye surgeries, ocular blowout fracture. So wow, and there are strabismus. You can go Google that. There are a lot of things that I deal with eyes. I've worn lenses of some sort since I was maybe 8 years old, and much of my vision was impacted due to a head injury when I was 8 years old.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
so that's just continued to this day.
Yeah. So that's when you were talking to me about, it's like, oh yeah, been through that, done that. All sorts. Are you doing this? Are you making sure you're not doing that?
No,
I'm a walking
which are all very
encyclopedia.
helpful. No, totally.
But I've had all of those things, and I don't wish it on anyone. It's just one of the things that I was not blessed with as far as a strong set of eyes.
I get it. I can still wink. But I mean, that's about it.
I won't see it, but that's okay.
I know, that's fine. Well, I'm winking. All right.
You are?
I'm blinking. I'm winking.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, okay, there we go. All right. What is underway as of the 25th and runs through August 8th is one of my favorite exciting times for the Southland. It's Dine LA week, which is much longer than just 1 week anymore. But the reason that I love this so much is we're all watching the almighty dollar and we're all watching our pocketbook. And this is the time when in Los Angeles County, and that means everywhere, the South Bay, San Gabriel Valley, Los Angeles City proper, a lot of restaurants are participating in Dine LA, which means discounted meals. Could be either during lunchtime a lot of times, and more often than not, they're prefixed. So meaning that you pick an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, or something to that effect. Also, you're able to get into a lot of restaurants that may be booked up. So this is one of those times where if you're looking for something fun, maybe a little bit special occasion-wise, and want to save a few bucks, it is a great time to check out food in the Southland. So dinela.com, and it is presented by Discover Los Angeles, but it gives you a whole rundown, and I'm talking, you name the kind of food. And it's funny because you've got everything from let's see, if you're familiar with Shutters on the Beach over in Santa Monica, an insanely expensive, beautiful hotel property, One Pico over there. They have a dinner with a $65 prefix. If you're looking for something maybe in, let's see, kind of scrolling through and seeing what's around. You've got Alexander Steakhouse over in Pasadena. You've got every kind of food. Oh, Amor y Tacos, which is great. You've got that in Cerritos, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, it's one of those times where, even if you don't have something to celebrate, it's a great time to get out into the neighborhoods of Southern California once again, just because you're able to sample different cuisines. And I mean, I love free 99. So this is as close as I can get you to that with some of the restaurants. But a lot of times they do have things that they do throw in complimentary or free with the meals. So it's definitely worth it. And so if you are familiar with fundraising and you are familiar with me in any way, shape, or form, I am a huge proponent of children, and I am a huge supporter of children. And I have been with CHOC, Children's Hospital Orange County, for well over 25 years now. I started out volunteering with them when I was a cast member at the Disneyland Resort, and Disney Volunteers, EARS, is still a big part of that. But CHOC Walk is happening this weekend. It's CHOC Walk in the Park presented by the Disneyland Resort. And it is an opportunity to raise funds for Children's Hospital Orange County and the CHOC Foundation, because what they do with CHOC is they never turn any family away, no matter what the situation may be. And that's the vast majority of children's hospitals, either Miller's Children's in Long Beach or CHLA. All of them never turn children and family away. But this is one of those reasons, or one of those times when much needed funds are collected. And the trade-off is you get to get up at the butt crack of dawn on a Sunday morning, and you get to go through the resort. So you get to walk through cast member areas backstage. You get to walk through some of the attraction areas. You get to meet all the characters. And it's all raising money for the Children's Hospital in Orange County, which is in Santa Ana. If you're ever traveling along, this is me, my traffic reporterness. If you're traveling along the 22 or the 55, you can easily see it there. it's next door to St. Joseph Hospital, which they used to share a campus, but now through Chalk Walk and many other, the Chalk Gala and other things, they're able to be self-sufficient and support themselves. And it's all through this event. Most of it is through this event. If you're watching with us right now on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly, you may have seen Henry DiCarlo from KTLA. He always has a huge team. I'm actually walking with a brand new team this year. Usually I walk with Disney. In the past, we've had iHeart teams I walked with, but I'm actually walking with 19 nurses, part of Magically Thriving. They're nurses from all over Southern California, as well as outside of the area, who come in. Maybe they originally lived here, and we are raising funds. So if you are interested in supporting children in the Southland, you can always visit chalkwalk.org. If you go to Nick Pagliochini or This Weekend with Nick on Instagram, TikTok, you name it, the link in bio has where you can even donate. You can join our team. I think that's still available through Friday. But if you're not able to join us, the thing that I do love is the slumbering bear. So the Chalk mascot is Choco Bear. He's adorable. I may have been, as we say at Disney, friends with him at one point, so I may have been able to don the costume. That's been a few years because I'm quite a bit taller than Chaco, but I am there to support him in many, many ways. But if you're looking to find a good tax write-off for this year, or if you're looking just to donate a few bucks, any amount is perfect, and all goes to the Children's Hospital of Orange County, as well as the Chalk Foundation. And if you're not familiar with Chalk, not only do they have that location I've described in Santa Ana, but they also partner with Hoag Hospital. They have Chalk at Mission Hospital down in Mission Viejo. So there's so much. There really is an opportunity for you to get out. Also, we will have some of the kids of the nurses walking with us. And what's always fun is being able to see year after year how many families come back. And the sadder part is a lot of times they may have lost a child at Children's Hospital Orange County, and they still come back years and years. I mean, there are handfuls of families who have hundreds of members on their teams and raise funds every single year, and they lost their children decades ago. And so it's one of those times to come together as our Southern California community and really support each other. Again, if you want more details about this or anything else I've talked about for What's Up with Nick, you can always check out the link in bio at Nick Pagliochini or This Weekend with Nick on Instagram, TikTok, X or Twitter. You name it, I'm there. If you have anything you want me to check out, by all means, slide into the DMs or shoot me an email. You can also get that. Just because I want to not only check out the things and encourage you to visit things I'm aware of, but I want to know what's going on in your backyard. And I want to make sure that I can support that no matter what the situation may be.
Nick Pagliochini.
Yes, sir.
Missed you last week.
I missed being here last week, too. I had an incredible time with a lot of folks over at the Disneyland Resort. I also... we had the 17th was the official birthday. On the 18th, I actually hosted a retirement party for JP Pryor and Steve Valkenburg. You can see that video over on Instagram with Disneyland Cast and Community. Also, you can see it on the Disneyland, at Disneyland. You can see a glimpse of me hosting over there, which is kind of fun. That's exciting to see. But it's one of those things, if you're a magic maker, being a cast member at Disney or being a member of the Chalk community, getting out there into your own backyard and helping out where you can is always a pleasure.
Will we see you next week?
I am planning on it.
Okay, because you may just,
No, you're right. And I mean, the worst part is...
Leave us hanging on the 4th of July. Leave us hanging during the week.
I know, and God knows. And So I plan to be here next Tuesday, where I am almost every Tuesday.
You need to text La Mujer and fall on the mercy of her court.
I will, absolutely. And I know she enjoys Portos because...
Yes, she does.
I mean, there might be deliveries to your house, too.
That's fine, so long as Mark doesn't get anything.
Well, no, Mark doesn't get squat.
Okay.
Does Mark even know where you live? Did he go?
No, of course he didn't go.
He didn't just go. Hang on here. I like Portos.
See, you're not getting any.
Bring over some of the potato balls.
Okay.
Mach Schnell.
Wow. And last thing, if you're following us on YouTube, a couple of people pointed out in the chat room, Momigos, but all three of the boys are all in black, but especially Mark and I, we're both rocking our Simon Cowell black t-shirts. So
I need an eye patch. I feel like I'm missing a key part of it.
I will find you one in the first aid kit.
Well, I'm using both of my eyes at the moment, so hang back for a second.
Oh, boy. You need both eyes for what you do?
For right now, yeah.
I think you're fine with just your mouth.
And moving on.
We're going to let that hang out there for a moment. We need some uncomfortable silence. Hold on.
We're a half hour away from Safe Harbor, okay?
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app. We have a Will Smith update when we come back, and then I'll have my final thought.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app, live on YouTube. If you're still checking out the video simulcast, live on Facebook and Instagram. And we talked about, I would say more than any other show on KFI, the fortunes of Will Smith subsequent to the Oscar slap. And Tual and I went in depth talking about that, not only his history as a rapper, but also as an actor, how his career grew over the years and what this may mean, what the slap may have meant for his career moving forward, because he was no longer Mr. Box Office Draw. He was no longer the 4th of July opening of a movie bankable star. And we thought that this was going to irrevocably change the trajectory of his career, in the sense that since he was on the downside of his superstardom, I would call him a star now, not the superstar that he was, that this Oscar slap was going to adversely affect his career earnings going forward. And I remember making the statement along the lines of, Will Smith will not be able to decide when people are ready to completely forgive him or move on, in the sense of put all this behind him. Yes, he did well with the most recent Bad Boys movie. Yes, he's done some other projects that he's been producing, but no, he has not made the type of money or been received with the same type of fanfare and acclaim that he did prior to the slap. There is a lot of holdover. And then when I read today that Will Smith has been selling multiple homes, and some would ascribe that to fallout still all these years later from the Oscar slap, it says to me that, yes, he is still a successful actor, but he's not the bankable commodity that he once was. And there's still financial consequences for him. And there's as always, there's speculation about what's going on between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, whether they're living separate lives, whether they are trying to work it out as a couple, whether they have an open relationship. I have no idea what's going on in their marriage, and that is of lesser importance to me. I know the paparazzi would like the gossip aspect of it, but for me, it's less about that. I think it's there's a case study here as far as you can do something which means that you went too far, or you did too much, or you did something which was too unforgivable in some people's minds. And I know for me, I don't have any personal animus against Will Smith, but I will always feel some type of way about him assaulting Chris Rock on stage for the whole world to see. I put myself in a position of what would I do if I were Chris Rock? You know, how would I respond? And Chris Rock has to live with that image, and we're showing it to you right now on YouTube, of being slapped for the rest of his life. There's no apology which is going to undo that moment. And Chris Rock, I think, handled it admirably. Yes, Will Smith tried to apologize publicly. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, or whether he reached out directly to Rock and Rock refused to take his phone call or what have you. I have no idea. All I do know is that there is nothing that Will Smith can say which will undo that image, which will live on forever, of being slapped like he was a child or worse on stage for the whole world to see. We're not talking about on a TV show or something. We're talking about the Oscars when everyone was watching, in the age of the internet, where nothing is ever destroyed and lives on forever. According to Radar Online, the Smiths, and I'll say there's still a couple at this point, sold a Woodland Hills home. They listed for $2 million in March, a 5-bedroom Maryland house that sold in February for $817,000. Will Smith's wealth, was valued before the slap at around $400 million. Now he's estimated to be worth $350 million. Of course, that's more money than just about everybody listening. You know, there might be 2 or 3 billionaires listening. But outside of those 2 or 3 billionaires, that's more than all of us have collectively. And so it says to me that there is a financial cost that is still being paid by Will Smith. And there may be marital troubles, and maybe they're trying to start divvying up assets. But I'm more inclined to believe that if you live the lifestyle of the Smiths, it's not something that is easily paid for if you are not churning the types of hits out that he was 5 or 10 years ago. Does this mean that his time as a star is over? No, I wouldn't say that. I know they have at least one more Bad Boys movie which is coming out, and I think Will Smith will go on and start producing more. He has his TV show Bel Air, which is doing well in streaming. He will have his hands in multiple projects, and he's not going to be destitute. But will he continue to pay a price for that slap? Absolutely. Because there's no need to just unload properties unless money is an issue somewhere, some reason having to do with someone. It's later with Mo Kelly. When we come back, final thoughts regarding the mass shooting in New York yesterday.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And for my final thought this evening, it took me a good 24 hours to really drill down in my head what I wanted to say. And I couldn't come up with anything real different because it's just another mass shooting. You know, what's there different to say? We've had another mass shooting. This time in the heart of Manhattan, broad daylight. It was brazen. It was pre-planned. And what amazed me was that there wasn't a higher death toll. Thank goodness for that. It could have been much worse. The shooter communicated that he thought he was suffering from CTE from his football playing days. Why he was supposedly self-aware enough to know he was suffering from a degenerative brain disease and clearly in control of his faculties, yet decided with forethought and malice to drive across country and randomly murder people, I don't know. He could have just stayed home and offed himself. I know that sounds heartless, but that would have been preferential. I know I shouldn't try to make sense out of nonsense. Although the specifics of this mass shooting are different, the results are largely the same. Innocent people are killed. Elected officials offer thoughts and prayers. Elected officials call for quote-unquote sensible gun legislation. And others will call for further relaxation of gun laws and nationwide open carry. Nothing ever changes. Nothing will ever change. Here's why. Hashtag not all lives matter. We, as a country, are emotionally comfortable with people needlessly dying. Dying violently, dying needlessly, broad daylight even. A friend told me a long time ago about bad relationships. Have you ever been in a bad relationship? I have, arguing all the time, fighting all the time. A friend told me, Mo, when you've honestly had enough, you will end the relationship. You will not put up with the same old over and over again. You will get tired of the fighting and arguing. When you have had enough, you will change things. America has not had enough of watching innocent people, children in school, worshipers in church, people in movie theaters, law enforcement at all dying due to gun violence. We have a gun culture that we just can't get enough of in America. And we love that gun culture more than we love life itself. More than our children, more than our mothers, more than our police officers. It's an abusive relationship on the level of Ike and Tina or OJ and Nicole. And I'm not being funny in the least because it is that abusive, that violent, and that deadly. It's an abusive relationship we can't get out of or get enough of. The political arguments never change. Have you been paying attention? The platitudes never change. The prayers never change. The gun violence hasn't changed. Why is that? Because we haven't changed. Gun violence hasn't changed, and it hasn't changed us. We are numb to it. We are okay with it, and that's the more serious point. We have had more than one generation grow up in a country which is comfortable with watching people walk into public places and try to kill people indiscriminately. Columbine was 26 years ago. There is something wrong with us as a nation. Every country on the face of the earth has to deal with mentally unstable people, suicidal people, homicidal people. But we're the only ones dealing with this level of gun violence. There's no single law which will solve this problem. And honestly, I don't think we want to solve the problem. But we damn sure could do more than what we're doing. We're not doing more because, say it with me, we are okay with mass shootings and innocent people, including children, dying. We are comfortable watching police officers being carried out in body bags like Officer Islam was today. We politically talk about rapists and murderers or terrorists crossing the southern border, but Americans are far more efficient at killing Americans than anyone else. And it's not even close because hashtag not all lives matter. In fact, hashtag nobody's lives really matter, as evidenced by our collective response to mass shootings. And I can't care about America more than America does itself. I can't care about police officers being outgunned and gunned down in cold blood than America does. Because today, and this is just anecdotal, I saw way too many arguments about whether this shooter was carrying an AR-15 or an M4, as if that freaking mattered. We as a country, we've lost the plot. The point of it all should have been always been protection of life. For all the political commentary about being pro-life or right to life, we're way too cavalier watching people die in gun violence or lack of health care for that matter. Here's another and lasting uncomfortable truth about those who died yesterday in New York City. We, as in America, do not care beyond the symbolic. Because if we actually substantively cared, we would do something to help prevent or lessen the likelihood of these mass shootings ever happening again. Only with gun violence do we throw our hands up and act like we are just powerless to protect one another. We don't do this for airplane crashes, you notice that? We didn't do it for the opioid crisis or even natural disasters. We change laws, guidelines, and federal oversight immediately. And we are ever attempting to improve safety and mitigate loss of life, except with guns. So honestly, save your thoughts. You can keep your prayers. Just leave me out of your political discussions. Just say that their lives don't matter. And the ones who will die in the next mass shooting, which is tomorrow or next week or next month or all three, they don't matter either, because that is way more believable than saying they do. For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.